Hey everyone, Neil here. Work some more on this dual input furnace. We're pretty close to being done. I think that we're only going to have this episode and one more, and then we're going to be all done with it. I'm working all the bugs out on Fluid right now, as you'll see from right here, getting that all worked out. So hopefully we should have that episode out here pretty soon. What am I doing? What am I working on? We're going to do... we have some methods in here, specifically this one, this update entity method. This is kind of a big deal. A lot of shit to do on this one. This is essentially... I'm going to kind of walk through it, but update entity is essentially where we put fuel into our fuel slots on our dual input furnace, and it will move, it will convert that into energy that is then stored, and it also, uses it up when we're actually doing the mash item method. So, super important. We need a couple of flags. So we are going to say Boolean flag is going to be equal this dot has power, and this is a method that we're going to have to create. And then we're going to have Boolean, and we'll just call this one flag 1, and this one is actually going to start out as false. So let's tidy that up like so. So the first thing that we're going to do is just a quick little if statement that is more or less going to say that if has power and this dot is what is that going to be? Mash item. I had a sneeze coming. Excuse me, goodness. This dot mash item. I don't think we need that. We do need this right here. We are going to say this dot dual power minus minus. So essentially, as we're actually mashing this, as long as there is power, we're going to be taking power away as we're mashing it. So the methods. This method that we're going to need for this is, let's just go ahead and create that right above this. So we're going to say public Boolean has power, like so. And this is essentially, we're going to return dual power is greater than 0. So really what we're saying, yes, this has power as long as our dual power variable is greater than 0. It's going to return true, right? So Boolean flag is going to equal true if this returns as true. However, if dual power is equal to 0, it's going to return false. And what does it not like about this? If has power and is this dot mash item. What does it not like about those? I don't know. No, this has to be a new method as well. this dot is mashing. And we are going to create that actually right here. And this one is going to be a Boolean as well. And we are going to call this is mashing. And we are going to return, if I can fucking spell right, return this dot dual cook time is greater than 0. So if we have a cook time in progress, it's going to return true. So is mashing. It still doesn't like this. Why not? Change to is mashing method. Like so. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, if it has power, and if it's actually cooking, we're going to be reducing the power as we go along. Sweet. Sweet. All right, now we're getting kind of a big if statement that we're going to go through here. So, if invert world object dot is remote, then what we want to do is we're going to do another if statement, and we are going to say if this dot has item power and this dot slots of 2 and this dot dual power is less than this dot max power minus this dot get item power, this slots of 2. So we should have 1, 2, 3 of those, like so. So, if our world object is not remote, because we've inverted it here with our exclamation point, so really what we're saying is if has this dot has item power, and remember that has item power is has item power, so get item power, item stack is greater than 0, so essentially this is where our fuel is. So if all of this is greater than 0, right, of slots.2, so if slots.2 has fuel in it and this dot dual power, and dual power is essentially, so in our GUI, that is not it. That is the stuff that I was working on for our fluids, and this is not the right area. So let's go here and here and here and here and here and here, 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 and here. So really what it's saying is that, okay, does slot 2 have anything in it? Good gravy. So does slot 2 have anything in it? Which is right here. Or this dot dual power, which is essentially the value of this, does that have anything? Right? So if it's less than that, if it's less than the max power and the get item power, then what are we going to do? We're going to say this dot dual power plus or equal to get item power, this dot slots of 2, like so. And then we're going to have another if statement, and we are going to say this dot slots of 2 is null. Then we are going to say flag 1 is going to equal true. This dot slots of 2 dot stack size is going to be minus minus. Another if statement where we say if this dot slots of 2 dot stack size is equal to 0, we will say this dot slots of 2 is going to equal this dot slots of 2 dot get item dot get container item this dot last no, that's my other thing, slots of 2 right there. Phew. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3 braces, give ourselves a little bit of room, and we are going to say if has power and can mash our dual cook time is going to go down, or no, dual cook time is going to go up. Dual cook time is going to go up, and we are going to say if this dot dual cook time equals this dot mashing speed, this dot dual cook time is going to be equal to 0, and flag 1 will equal true. Else dual cook time is going to equal 0. We're going to come down to this brace and a couple of breaks. If flag does not equal this dot has power, we are going to say flag 1 is going to be equal to true, and then we're going to say ingot masher, so we're going to call our original block class, and we are going to say update block state, and this is a method that we are going to need to create in our block class. So this dot has power, comma, this dot world object, comma, this dot xcord, this dot ycord, and you guessed it, this dot zcord, like so. Let's import this class. There's one other thing that we need to do here, and so we're going to come down 1, 2 braces, or we're going to say if flag 1, we're going to say this dot mark dirty. Easy. So let's actually create this method over here in our block class, and let's actually save this. And let's get this method out of the way, because I believe that once we do this, we'll actually be able to put fuel in our furnace. However, we're not actually going to be able to, we'll put fuel in it and it'll have fuel in it. We just won't be able to see how much fuel is in there because we haven't done what we need to do in our GUI, which I think we should have enough time to do that. If not, it would just be an extra long episode. So what we are going to do is we are going to say int I is going to be equal to and you know what, I don't want this to be a world object, I just want this to be a world because I'm lazy like that. So if.world.get block metadata, which is going to be X chord, Y chord, Z chord. Boom. We're going to say tile entity. We're going to spell the damn thing right. Tile entity, we'll just name it entity, is going to be equal to world.get tile entity. And then this as well is going to be our X chord, our Y chord, our Z chord, like so. And here we're actually going to reference our keep inventory. And we are going to say keep inventory is going to equal true. Like so. Let's do some massive if statements. So we are going to say if has power, what we want to do is world.set block. I wanted to actually put everything in there for me. Set block. We should only want the 4 because we don't need metadata. So this is going to be X chord, Y chord, Z chord, and then this will actually be neocraft dot, and this will be block ingot masher active, like so. Else, and what we can do is we can actually just copy this entire line right here, and so if it has power we want it to be active. However, if it doesn't have power we want it to be the idle version of our block, like so. And we will say keep inventory is going to equal false. World.set block, come on, world.set block metadata with notify is going to be X chord, Y chord, Z chord. Did I get that right? I, and then 2. 2. Like so. One last if statement, and this is going to be our tile entity, and we are going to say that if our tile entity does not equal null, what we want to do is, what do we want to do? We want to say entity.validate, like so. Enter key, please. World.set tile entity, and this is going to be our X chord, our Y chord, our Z chord, and then we will have our entity, like so. Sweet. That method is done. So realistically, we should be able to run this and then drop some of our tree pitch into the fuel slot and see it disappear. Provided I didn't fuck anything up, which is a distinct possibility. Okay, so off. Let's get some tree pitch out of here. We're going to come in here. And there you go. So you'll see that it's eating our fuel now. That's the update entity, the update entity method in our tile inventory that is doing that. However, our GUI isn't working. So let's get our GUI working and then go from there. Sweet. And you'll see that it's powered on because it has power. Yay. But I don't think we want to do that, right? Because that was a boo-boo. What is this thing? Spawner animals. Oh, that's the stupid Cyclops. Okay. Trying to spawn. We can ignore that. Let's go back over here. And update block state. Boolean has power. We don't want that. Let's look at our update entity again. We want is mashing. This dot has power. This dot is mashing. Like so. And so let's come over here and let's actually just make sure that this is savvy with it. This has power. This dot is mashing. And we will replace that here. So let's save it. Let's run it just to be sure. Because when we put fuel in it, it changed our block state to show that it was actually working. Right? And we don't want that to be the case. We only want it to be the case when it's actually working. And what did I put? What did I say was going to do this? I think I said iron and manganese. Manganese. No errors there. Well, it's didn't see a block change on that, so it's not working at this point. Do I have the recipe right? Tile entity ingot masher. Oh, go away. I don't care about that, bro. Ingot masher recipes. We said manganese and iron should give us that. Alright, we'll get back to that. Let's do our GUI and make sure that our fuel gauge is going up at this point. So that's where we do the thing with the power. So we need to do the thing with the power. So if what did we name this? So we are going to say if ingot masher dot has power, then we want to say int I1 is going to be equal to ingot masher dot get power remaining scaled, and our power remaining scaled, let's do 45, and we need to do a draw textured modal rect, and this is going to be a GUI left plus, I believe it's 8. Yep, it's 8. With a GUI top plus what? And this is on the y-axis. And we want to go to the bottom here. I believe it's 53. It's 53. And we actually want to minus I1. And then we are going to say, what is the area that has the image that we're putting in there? And so that is actually over here, right here in this area. So that is 176. It starts at 176. And then it's going to be 62 minus I1. I1. Let's give this a buzz. See what happens. We are not getting anything. Get power remaining scaled, so we've got that. Why is it not showing up? That's weird. (62) minus I1. And this should right here should be 62, I believe. 62, yep. And it starts at 16, which should be the very top of this. 17. What am I missing? Let me take a peek. So here's something interesting. I was doing some tinkering and I kept filling this up with stuff and it's running down, but it doesn't look like it's actually cooking anything because we don't have any manganese ingots. And it's still giving me crap about the Cyclops. Well, that stopped it in its tracks. What is our cooking speed? Mashing speed, max power. So it's drawing power out, but it's not actually cooking the item. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. Because it should be doing that. And it should be drawing it out. I'm not sure why this isn't working. So I'm going to have to do some checking and find out what's up with that. Let's check our tile entity, and I want to go over a method in here, specifically the smash item method, and make sure that everything looks savvy with that. We're missing something in here. I'm a derp. I'm a derpy McDerperston. This dot mash item. So it's taking the fuel away, but I never actually said, hey, go out and do that. Whoops. Hey, look at that. It did it. Imagine that. It works. Okay, so we've got that to work, but we're still having GUI problems. And you know what? Honestly, at this point, I'm going to leave that for next episode, and we're going to come back and finish that up. And once we've got GUI all taken care of, we should be done. Oh, you know, actually, I wanted to do this. Let's make sure that that block change, state change occurs, and it does not. It does not. It still shows that it's off, and we want it to look as though it is on. Because that happens under here as well. If this dot has power, Nothing. Nothing. All right. So to-do list 3 items. Get our GUI finished up, so that way this is appearing, and then this is appearing, and then make sure that our block state changes. So that way it looks right. All right. So in the meantime, this is Neil. Thanks for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe. Screw you guys. I'll see you later.